looked at a pile of junk and thought it was worthless? What if I told you that hidden inside your trash are the keys to creating an enchanted summer garden? Today, we're taking 17 forgotten items and giving them a new life, turning waste into vibrant upcycling ideas that will make your backyard look magical. Welcome to Mind Over Decoration. In this video, you'll find creative transformations and inspiring garden designs, all neatly organized with timestamps so you can explore what excites you most. If you have questions or ideas of your own, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And remember, the best gardens aren't about spending more, but about creating with what you already have. Maybe to you, I'm just another face on a screen. But behind this content, there's a real story, and a real family. This isn't just a video, it's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it truly matters. When you hit that button, you're helping a dream stay alive. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing me. In the quiet warmth of a summer morning, the garden awakens with whispers of color. What once was forgotten plastic, bottles tossed aside without meaning, now stands proudly as a fence of blossoms. Each bottle, cut, painted, and reshaped, tells a story of rebirth. They are no longer trash but petals, glowing softly as the sun climbs higher. The gentle transparency catches the light, scattering reflections like stained glass windows made by nature's own hand. This fence does not separate, it welcomes. It curves gently around the heart of the garden, embracing roses heavy with bloom and lavender that sways like waves in the breeze. Butterflies pause on the rim of painted petals, their wings echoing the colors below. Bees hum softly, drawn not to plastic, but to the abundance of blossoms that thrive within this recycled embrace. Children laugh as they pass, their small hands brushing against the smooth, colorful surfaces. They see not bottles, but magical flowers that bloom without withering. Neighbors pause to admire the creativity, their eyes caught by the way ordinary plastic has been transformed into something extraordinary. The garden feels more alive, not despite the fence, but because of it. It is proof that beauty can be born from the overlooked, that art hides in the simplest of things. The bottles, once vessels of convenience, now serve a higher purpose, to guard, to adorn, to inspire. And as evening falls, when golden light stretches long across the soil, the fence glows once more. It seems almost alive, shimmering in harmony with the summer blooms. In this space, time slows. The fence becomes a reminder, every object has a second life, every fragment of trash holds the seed of wonder. The garden does not care that these are bottles. To the garden, they are simply flowers that will never fade. Beneath the golden sun of summer, laughter seems to echo even when no one is near. It is the kind of laughter born not from people, but from the garden itself, playful, mischievous, and alive. At first glance, one might wonder, why are there chickens pecking near the lavender, or goats standing proudly by the roses? But then, the truth reveals itself. These are not living animals, but sculptures reborn from the quiet bones of old tires. Once forgotten, heavy, and dark, the tires have found a second life, cut and curved into shapes that tell stories of the countryside. A chicken arches its rubber wings, painted bright like sunrise. A goat tilts its head as though about to leap. A cow, its round form painted with bold black and white patches, gazes playfully at passers-by. They stand not in pastures, but among roses, marigolds, and vines, as though the garden itself had invited them to play. The transformation is more than art, it is joy given form. Children run to greet the rubber animals, circling them with giggles, touching the smooth paint warmed by the sun. Adults pause, marveling at how something once considered waste could be turned into sculptures so full of life. These figures do not move, yet they bring movement to the imagination. As twilight falls, the painted surfaces catch the last rays of amber light. The animals appear almost real, their shadows stretching long across the garden paths. There is a timeless quality here, where recycling is not only practical but poetic. The sculptures become guardians of the garden, reminding all who see them that creativity breathes new spirit into forgotten things. In the silence of evening, the chicken, the goat, and the cow seem to stand watch, symbols of resilience, of humor, of transformation. In their stillness lies the heartbeat of summer itself, colorful, surprising, and endlessly alive. In the heart of the garden, color does not simply arrive through petals alone, it spills across stone and wall, carried by fragments of the overlooked. Bottle caps, once discarded and forgotten, now sing together in harmony, pieced into mosaics that blaze like summer rainbows. Each circle of metal or plastic becomes a stroke of paint in an unexpected canvas, turning what was once trash into living art. Along the garden's path, sunlight dances upon swirling mandalas made of crimson and turquoise, golden and emerald. The caps catch the light in their ridges, glowing like tiny jewels pressed into the earth. Nearby, lavender waves in the breeze, its purple spires mirrored in the violet caps underfoot. Bees hum low, weaving between natural bloom and man-made brilliance, unable to distinguish where one beauty ends and another begins. On the garden wall, a rainbow arcs, not in the sky, but beneath ivy and roses, created by patient hands arranging caps one by one. There is no haste here, only care, as if each piece remembers its past life and takes joy in this rebirth. Children lean close, tracing the outlines of sunflowers formed by yellow caps, their laughter echoing in the summer air. Adults step back, marveling at how something so ordinary has become extraordinary. By the fountain, butterflies take shape in mosaics of pastel pink and violet, fluttering eternally against stone. The trickle of water completes the scene, adding a rhythm to the garden's heartbeat. Here, nothing is wasted, everything has a purpose, even the smallest fragments. As evening falls, the mosaics glow with the last golden light, their colors deepening, their patterns alive with memory. They are more than decoration, they are a story, a reminder that transformation is always possible. What was once overlooked is now celebrated, and in the garden, even bottle caps have found their way back into the light. fragrance. It begins with the soft glow of jars, ordinary glass once emptied of purpose, now filled with light. They hang from branches and beams, each one cradling a golden flame or a string of tiny lights that twinkle like captive fireflies. Their glow is not harsh but tender, weaving warmth into the evening air. Beneath the canopy of roses and grapevines, the lanterns sway gently in the summer breeze. They cast shifting patterns across the ground, where marigolds burn bright against the fading sky and lavender sighs its perfume into the night. The garden becomes more than a space of flowers, it becomes a theater of light, where shadows dance in rhythm with the flicker of candles. At the wooden table, jars glow softly beside bowls of fresh berries and bunches of mint. Neighbors gather, their laughter carried through the scented air, their faces illuminated by the gentle glow of recycled light. It is a reminder that beauty does not demand perfection, it emerges from simplicity, from giving forgotten things a second chance to shine. Children run barefoot along the paths, chasing the flickering of true fireflies that mingle with the jar lanterns. To their eyes, there is no difference, both are part of the wonder of summer nights. Adults lean back, eyes lifted toward the jars, seeing not trash but stars brought down to earth. And as the evening deepens, the lanterns hold their quiet vigil. They transform the garden into a sanctuary of warmth, a place where memory and imagination blur. The jars, once destined for silence in a forgotten corner, now sing with light. The garden glows not only with flowers, but with hope, that even the simplest vessel, when given care, can become a beacon of beauty. And in that glow, the night feels endless, alive with a summer magic that belongs to everyone. Gentle hum of summer, the garden whispers of both flavor and fragrance. Rising from the soil like playful sculptures stand towers made not of marble or stone, but of tin, cans once holding simple meals, now reborn as guardians of green. Painted in colors that sing of sunlight and ocean breezes, they stack one upon another, carrying life in their hollow shells. From their rims spill basil leaves, their scent sharp and sweet, mingling with the calm breath of rosemary and the soft whisper of thyme. Mint tumbles down the sides, spilling like a cascade of green water, its leaves catching the morning dew. Each plant thrives in its humble vessel, cared for not by grandeur, but by creativity and the touch of human hands. The towers do not merely stand, they glow. They brighten the corner of the patio, bringing utility and beauty together in a dance of function and art. A passerby cannot help but pause, to run their fingers across the painted surface of a can, to brush against a leaf and release its perfume. The air becomes alive with promise, every leaf a potential flavor, every stem a gift waiting for the kitchen. Around the towers, marigolds burn orange, their fiery heads contrasting with the soft green of parsley and sage. Lavender rises nearby, lending its violet hue and calming fragrance. Bees drift lazily from bloom to bloom, as if drunk on summer's generosity, while butterflies weave patterns of light around the towers. And in the quiet evening, when the day's heat softens into golden calm, the towers remain, shimmering with a quiet pride. They tell a story, of renewal, of possibility, of how even a can destined for the shadows of waste can rise again, taller and more alive than ever before. The herb towers are not simply structures, they are symbols. Proof that beauty and usefulness walk hand in hand, that the forgotten can be transformed, and that a garden, when touched by imagination, can feed both body and soul. summer sunlight pours into the garden like liquid gold, and here, among the beds of green, something extraordinary blooms. At first glance, they seem like sunflowers, bold, golden, radiant. Yet on closer look, their petals are not born of nature, but of simple plastic spoons, reshaped and painted to mimic the sun's own children. They stand proudly beside their living counterparts, blurring the line between what is crafted by hand and what is grown by earth. Each spoon has been brushed with shades of yellow, orange, and gold, capturing the warmth of the season. Around bottle cap centers, they radiate outward like captured rays of sunlight. Their stems, built from wooden stakes and painted green, root them firmly in the soil, so that from afar they appear to sway in rhythm with the summer breeze. Children run along the path, their eyes widening as they realize the flowers are both real and not. They laugh, circling the plastic blossoms, marveling at their size and brightness. Neighbors pause to admire the craftsmanship, drawn by the cheerful defiance of these creations that glow just as brightly as the natural sunflowers standing nearby. The scent of lavender drifts on the air, mingling with basil and chamomile. Bees and butterflies still favor the living blooms, yet the spoon sunflowers attract admiration of another kind, the curiosity of eyes, the wonder of hearts. They are not alive, yet they live through the joy they spark, through the colors they add to the garden's canvas. As the day wanes, the spoon sunflowers catch the last amber light of dusk, their painted petals glowing with an almost fiery brilliance. They remind everyone who sees them that beauty is not limited to what grows from the earth, that sometimes, with imagination and care, beauty can be born from what was once discarded. In their silent bloom, they declare a truth: creativity is its own form of sunlight, and with it, even plastic spoons can become flowers that never fade. When sunlight enters a garden, it paints the world in warmth. But when that light meets fragments of broken mirror, it becomes something else entirely, alive, multiplied, and radiant. What once was shattered glass, sharp and forgotten, now transforms into 1,000 points of brilliance, scattering beams like captured stars across the earth. Along the garden's winding paths, tiny shards of mirror lie embedded in mosaic patterns. Each step catches a new glimmer, as if the earth itself has learned to sparkle. Lavender waves nearby, its purple flowers crowned with flashes of silver light. Roses bloom heavy, their red petals glowing with unexpected fire as mirror reflections dance upon them. A wall becomes a canvas, no longer plain stone but a shimmering tapestry where broken mirrors form waves that ripple with the sun. As the day shifts, the reflections move like living things, a choreography of light that never repeats the same way twice. Bees hum around hydrangeas, their wings catching the reflected glimmer, turning even their flight into a ballet of shine. At the fountain's edge, mirror fragments frame the flowing water. Together, water and light perform a duet, sparkle meeting shimmer, ripples meeting reflection. The sound of the trickling fountain merges with the sight of dazzling sparkles, and the garden feels touched by enchantment. Children chase the patches of light across the grass, laughing as if they could catch the sun itself. Adults stand quietly, watching how brokenness has become beauty. These mirrors no longer reflect faces, but possibilities. They remind us that even fragments, when placed with care, can create something greater than the whole. As dusk approaches, the last rays of the sun stretch long, caught and multiplied by every shard. The garden glows with a magic that is neither entirely natural nor entirely crafted. It is the poetry of transformation, where brokenness is not an end but a beginning. And when night finally falls, the mirrors hold the memory of the day's brilliance, waiting to catch the morning light again. In this garden, even what was shattered has learned how to shine. In the hush of a summer morning, the garden stirs with song. High among branches and beams, bright little homes sway gently in the breeze. These are no ordinary cottages, but birdhouses crafted from bottles once destined for the shadows of waste. Plastic that once held soap now shelters life, its hollow space transformed into sanctuary. Painted in cheerful hues, sky blues, soft pinks, sunny yellows, they hang like jewels among the greenery. Each one carries a story of renewal, and each one attracts new voices to the garden. Sparrows dart in and out, their wings quick and playful. Finches perch at the tiny doorways, singing songs that ripple through roses and lavender alike. The fence, once plain wood, now sparkles with character. Rows of birdhouses line its edge, each painted differently, some with stripes like carnival tents, others dotted like wildflowers. They are small but spirited, turning the boundary of the garden into a living gallery. Beneath them, marigolds burn orange and basil stretches fragrant leaves, as if to welcome the new residents. Under the pergola, a canopy of colors blooms. Bottles reborn as homes dangle among vines heavy with green grapes. Here, the air is thick with birdsong, the flutter of wings mixing with the hum of bees. Neighbors pause to admire, smiling at how even the simplest plastic can, with a bit of care, hold a melody of its own. There is wonder in watching life return. The bottles, once silent, now echo with chirps and songs. The garden, once quiet corners, now thrums with voices of nature that fill the air from dawn to dusk. As the sun lowers, golden light paints the birdhouses, turning their colors warmer, their shapes softer. The day's last song rings out from a tiny doorway, a lullaby carried across the flowers. And so, these bottles prove a truth: even what was meant to be thrown away can cradle new beginnings. In their painted shells, the garden has found music, and in their quiet transformation, the garden has found joy. There is a certain poetry in denim, strong, humble, worn through years of stories. And when jeans can no longer walk the paths of daily life, they find another journey, one that leads into the heart of the garden. Here, in the warmth of summer, denim becomes soil's companion, its pockets and seams transformed into vessels of bloom. Against the wooden fence, faded blue fabric now bursts with life. Marigolds spill over the pockets like golden suns, lavender leans gracefully, and basil offers its fragrance with every brush of wind. Patches of fabric stitched long ago add color, turning each pair into a canvas of history and renewal. What was once clothing now becomes living art. Along the wall, strawberries hide in denim folds, their red fruits glowing against blue fabric. Mid-trail softly from the seams, its green leaves swaying as butterflies land to rest. The sight is playful, unexpected, jeans hung like laundry, but instead of drying cloth, they hold the freshness of the season. On the patio, jeans stand upright, their legs sturdy with soil, boots painted bright at the base. From the waistline, zinnias and cosmos burst upward, wild and free, as though the jeans themselves have decided to bloom. Around them, baskets of fruit and herbs complete the tableau, a rustic celebration of reuse and abundance. Children laugh at the sight, running to peek into the pockets, surprised to find strawberries instead of coins, flowers instead of keys. Adults smile, reminded of days when those jeans carried them through work and play. Now, they carry something else: beauty, nourishment, life. As the evening sun sets, the denim glows soft under golden light. The seams catch the colors of dusk, and the plants rest gently in their blue cradles. These planters are not only practical, they are stories stitched into soil, reminders that nothing is ever truly finished. In this garden, even the most ordinary fabric becomes extraordinary. And in the pockets of old jeans, summer has found a new place to grow. In a world that often seeks perfection, the garden whispers another truth: beauty can be found in what is weathered. Here, among blossoms and buzzing bees, an old rusty pan takes its place not as waste, but as a fountain of life. Its edges, marked by time, now cradle clear water that mirrors the summer sky. Birds arrive first, delicate and curious. A sparrow dips its beak, sending ripples across the surface. A robin flutters nearby, splashing joyfully, its feathers shimmering with droplets in the sunlight. What was once forgotten in a kitchen's shadow now hums with purpose, a gathering place for creatures of the air. Around the pan, flowers bloom in chorus. Marigolds stand tall like golden flames, lavender sways with its calming scent, and sunflowers turn their heads toward the light. The rusty metal, far from spoiling the view, enhances it. It speaks of history, of resilience, of renewal. The garden accepts it as naturally as it does the petals and leaves. Along the pathway, other pans stand proud on metal frames, their mismatched heights giving rhythm to the landscape. Some hold polished stones, others floating petals, each catching the sunlight in different ways. Bees circle nearby chamomile, butterflies rest on zinnias, and in this patchwork of color and movement, the birdbaths feel like anchors of harmony. Children pause to watch, fascinated by the sudden flurry of wings. Adults smile quietly, reminded of simpler times when nothing was wasted, when even a pan with holes could find a second life. There is joy in the surprise, in realizing that something so plain can become a centerpiece of beauty. As twilight falls, the last glow of the sun rests on the water, turning it into liquid gold. The pan stands silent, waiting for tomorrow's visitors, ready to reflect another day's worth of sky and bloom. In the end, these rusty vessels are not relics of use but symbols of transformation. They remind us that even in rust, there is radiance, and that in the garden, everything, no matter how forgotten, can sing again. In the bright heart of summer, shade becomes its own kind of treasure. Yet here, in the garden, shade is not given by trees alone but by umbrellas, old, worn, and broken, once abandoned, now reborn. Their fabric, patched and painted, has taken to the air once more, stitched into a canopy that dances with color. Above the patio, pastel tones sway in the wind. Blues fade into pinks, greens into yellows, each umbrella carrying its own story of rain and wind before finding its place here. Sunlight filters through the fabric, softened into a gentle glow that falls upon a wooden table scattered with fresh herbs, bowls of berries, and blooms picked from nearby beds. Lavender perfumes the air, mingling with the sweetness of roses. In a quiet corner, a hammock stretches beneath a canopy of patched umbrellas. Their mismatched colors form a bohemian sky, casting patterns that ripple across the grass below. Here, hydrangeas stand proud, their blossoms heavy with color, while zinnias and chamomile nod in the summer breeze. The garden feels like a hidden retreat, a place where time slows and comfort lingers. Further along, a walkway becomes a tunnel of wonder. Umbrellas tied together form an arch of shade, glowing like stained glass beneath the sun. Children run beneath them, laughing as colors spill across their faces. Butterflies drift through the tunnel, joining the play of light and shadow. Each step along the path feels like entering a new world, painted not with brush but with fabric once forgotten. As evening deepens, the umbrellas catch the last golden rays of the sun. Their worn fabric glows softly, carrying a warmth that belies their age. They no longer shield from storms but invite delight, transforming the garden into a patchwork of memory and renewal. In their quiet way, these umbrellas teach that even when torn, even when faded, beauty can be reborn. And under their shade, summer feels infinite, colorful, comforting, and alive with possibility. In the quiet rhythm of summer, growth seeks something to hold on to. Vines stretch upward, restless and determined, and here, their companions are not costly trellises from shops but wire hangers, simple, bent, reborn into shapes of strength and grace. Once burdened only with fabric, they now carry blossoms, weaving together the beauty of necessity and imagination. In the garden beds, morning glories curl around slender arcs of hanger wire. Their violet trumpets open to the sun, glowing against the polished silver of their new supports. Beans climb higher, leaves broad and reaching, turning what was once plain metal into a living sculpture. Each twist of the hanger is echoed by the curve of a tendril seeking the sky. On the patio, pots of herbs and tomatoes find their own guardians. Heart-shaped trellises rise from the soil, holding stems with quiet care. Basil leans outward, filling the air with fragrance, while cherry tomatoes ripen like jewels among spirals of green. Around them, marigolds add bursts of orange flame, completing the harmony of food, flower, and form. Further along, a pathway transforms beneath an arch of wire hangers joined together. Painted in soft blues and greens, they are cloaked now in roses and jasmine, their blossoms spilling fragrance into the air. Sunlight filters through petals, dappling the stone with color, while butterflies dance lazily through the tunnel. What was once ordinary wire now frames a passage into another world. Neighbors stop to marvel at the sight, eyes drawn not to the hangers themselves, but to the life they now support. Children tug gently at vines, curious at how something so humble could hold up something so grand. The trellises become not just structures but symbols, proof that even the simplest tools, reshaped with vision, can cradle beauty. As evening descends, the wire glints one last time before surrendering to the shadows. The vines remain, climbing still, reaching higher. In the heart of the garden, the hangers have found new purpose, and the plants, new freedom. Together, they create a story of resilience, a duet of growth and rebirth. Summer light falls upon the garden path, and what once was broken now glimmers with unexpected beauty. Shards of ceramic, cracked and discarded, have been gathered with care, their jagged edges softened into patterns of grace. Set into the earth, they form mosaics that tell stories, floral swirls, butterflies in flight, mandalas that seem to hum with quiet energy. Each fragment carries its past life, a plate that once held meals, a cup that once warmed hands, a tile that once lined a wall. Now, together, they are reborn as a pathway for new journeys. Sunlight catches their glossy surfaces, scattering reflections across the garden like bits of captured sky. Walking upon them feels less like stepping on stone and more like treading through a gallery beneath open air. Along the edges, lavender leans, its purple blooms sending fragrance that drifts across the path. Daisies nod gently, as though in approval, while bees trace lines between flower and mosaic. The broken pieces and the living blooms echo one another, both imperfect, both radiant, both essential to the song of summer. At a bend in the path, butterflies rise from ceramic forms to their living counterparts, flitting among roses and marigolds. The air is alive with their dance, a blend of art and nature indistinguishable from one another. Further still, a mandala spreads outward on a circular patio, its radiant design a meditation in color and shape. A wooden bench waits beneath grapevines heavy with leaves, inviting wanderers to rest and admire the union of creation and decay. What was once considered useless has found meaning here. The cracks are not hidden, they are celebrated, transformed into patterns that only imperfection can create. The garden does not ask for perfection, it asks for presence, for renewal, for beauty found in the overlooked. As dusk approaches, the ceramic shards catch the fading light, glowing softly like embers. The pathway becomes a river of memory and transformation, carrying each step toward a deeper appreciation of what endures. And in this place, the broken is no longer broken. It is art, alive beneath the endless sky. In the hush of summer's warmth, the garden becomes more than soil and bloom, it becomes a storybook. At its heart lies a village not built by stone or timber, but by imagination and forgotten toys. Plastic figures, once scattered in childhood rooms, now find themselves reborn among flowers and moss, forming a world where fairies might truly dwell. Among lavender stalks and marigold beds, tiny houses made from painted blocks rise like colorful cottages. A cracked birdbath glimmers as a pond, where toy animals gather as though to drink. Fences from dollhouses line the edges, and mushrooms, sculpted from forgotten figurines, sprout in bright reds and whites. Every piece is familiar, yet transformed, carrying both memory and magic. Children peer closer, their eyes wide as they spot fairies perched on stones, wings spread in silent flight. Adults smile at the playful ingenuity, their hearts tugged by nostalgia, memories of toys once cherished, now given a second life in the embrace of summer blooms. As the day stretches on, zinnias rise proudly over the miniature village, their fiery heads glowing under the sun. Daisies lean gently toward creeping time, brushing the roofs of toy cottages with delicate petals. The air hums with bees, who unknowingly become part of the enchanted story, buzzing through fairy lanes and over tiny bridges. When twilight arrives, the fairy garden awakens anew. Tiny lights twinkle among the figures, mimicking fireflies. The plastic fairies, painted in soft pastels, seem alive in the glow, as though ready to whisper secrets into the night. The strawberries nearby glisten in the lantern light, their sweetness a gift for both hands and imagination. It is a reminder that magic does not need to be bought, nor does it fade with age. It lingers in the smallest things, in toys once forgotten, in cracks and in colors, in the way a garden embraces what is given to it. Here, among roses and hydrangeas, a fairy world thrives. Not because the toys are real, but because the wonder is. And in that wonder, the garden sings with the innocence of childhood, reborn beneath the summer sky. The soft murmur of water carries through the summer garden, a melody born not of rivers or streams but of something far more humble, a teapot, chipped and leaky, now singing again. Once forgotten on a dusty shelf, its cracks and flaws now release droplets that sparkle like jewels in the sunlight. It has found its place not at a table, but in the heart of the garden, where it pours life into the air. Balanced upon stones, the teapot tips ever so slightly, letting water spill into a basin below. Lavender leans close, its blossoms catching mist, while daisies nod gently at each splash. The air fills with the scent of basil and mint, their freshness mingling with the sound of falling water. It is a corner of quiet wonder, where the ordinary has become extraordinary. Elsewhere, a cluster of vintage teapots, mismatched and worn, form a playful cascade. From one spout to another, water flows in gentle steps, laughter made liquid. Marigolds blaze around them, their orange petals glowing brighter in the damp soil, while roses stretch upward, their perfume carried by the breeze. The garden becomes a stage where water and bloom dance in harmony. By the path, a smaller fountain tells its own story. A cracked teacup tilts from the hands of the old teapot, pouring into a pool lined with smooth stones. Hydrangeas rise nearby, heavy with color, while zinnias flash bold hues under the sun. Ferns whisper with each passing wind, and butterflies pause to sip, their wings trembling in the light. Visitors pause here longer than elsewhere. They listen to the trickle, watch the droplets glisten, and feel something shift inside, a reminder that beauty often comes from what has been overlooked. The teapot, once dismissed, now carries the voice of the garden. As dusk falls, the water catches the last rays of light, turning silver, then gold, before slipping into the shadows. The fountain continues to sing, its quiet song blending with the night. In this space, imperfection is not hidden, it is celebrated. And in that celebration, the garden breathes with joy. Summer, the garden hums with life, each leaf and blossom whispering its own song. Yet among the blooms stand wooden voices of another kind, cutting boards, worn smooth with years of use, now reborn as signs that guide both plant and passerby. Once the quiet servants of kitchens, these boards now serve the garden, carved and painted with care. At the herb beds, boards rise proudly from the soil. The names of basil, rosemary, and thyme are etched deep into their surfaces, guiding the curious hand to touch, to taste, to remember. Their wood, weathered and sun-warmed, feels almost alive, carrying the scents of the herbs they mark. Lavender leans close, its purple blossoms soft against the carved letters, while marigolds stand as golden guardians nearby. Along the path, pastel-painted boards brighten the way. Their hues of mint, peach, and sky blue gleam in the sunlight, their painted flowers echoing the real blossoms that bloom at their feet. Bees hover over zinnias, daisies nod in agreement, and sunflowers tower above, their faces turned to the sky. The signs do not simply label, they celebrate, turning information into art. On the wooden fence, boards hang like framed memories. Roses climb and twine around them, hydrangeas spread their heavy blooms at their base. Upon the boards, words are painted with a gentle hand, bloom with grace, grow wild. They are more than signs, they are whispers of encouragement, reminders to live as freely as the garden does. Visitors pause to read, to smile, to linger. Children trace the letters with curious fingers, while adults breathe in the mingled fragrance of herbs and roses. The cutting boards, once destined to be discarded, now hold meaning beyond their first purpose. They are markers, yes, but also keepers of spirit, turning the garden into a place of story as much as bloom. As the evening sun sets, the wooden signs glow golden, their words and names etched in shadows across the soil. They stand quietly, proud yet humble, a testament to the truth that even the most ordinary objects can carry extraordinary beauty when given a second life. There is a quiet charm in the forgotten corners of life, where objects once central to daily ritual find themselves left behind. In the garden, however, nothing is ever truly abandoned. Here, vintage kettles, once whistling with steam and warmth, now bloom with a different kind of life. They no longer pour tea, they pour color into the summer air. On a wooden bench, their round bodies cradle bursts of petunias, daisies, and lavender. Rust laces some with patterns of time, while others glow anew with coats of pastel paint. Together they create a mosaic of history and renewal, each kettle holding blossoms that spill over like laughter. Around them rise roses and sunflowers, the old and the eternal in gentle harmony. Along a stone pathway, kettles rest like guardians of color. Marigolds blaze in their mouths, chamomile softens their edges, and mint stretches upward with fragrant leaves. Bees hum happily between the blossoms, while butterflies dip into the flowers, unaware of the vessel's past lives. The garden becomes a place where memory and growth walk side by side. Above the patio, kettles dangle like lanterns of bloom. Hydrangeas cascade from their spouts, zinnias blaze in reds and pinks, and ivy trails gracefully toward the earth. Beneath them, grapevines twist along beams, while strawberries ripen in clay pots, offering sweetness in sight and taste. The air hums with vitality, every corner singing with color. Visitors stop to admire, charmed by the unexpected beauty. They see not only flowers but stories, the story of a kettle that once poured comfort into cups, now pouring beauty into the soil. The transformation feels almost poetic, a reminder that function may fade, but meaning endures. As the evening sun lowers, the kettles catch the last golden glow, their blossoms radiant against the twilight sky. They stand as vessels of memory, of imagination, of second chances. And so the garden teaches again, nothing is too old to bloom. Even a kettle, weary with years, can cradle the freshness of summer and remind us that beauty often comes from the most unexpected places. And there you have it, 27 vibrant upcycling ideas that prove trash is never truly trash. Your garden can be magical, colorful, and full of life, simply by reimagining what you already have. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It helps this channel grow and keeps the ideas flowing. Share your thoughts and questions in the comments. I'd love to know which project inspired you the most, or what creative upcycling ideas you've tried in your own garden. Until next time, keep creating, keep imagining, and keep turning the ordinary into something extraordinary.